Hello, welcome to our first video on ShepherdStaff 2020. Today we're going to focus on introducing a brand new membership module. Hi, my name is Rod Kiles and I am the manager of Concordia Technology Solutions. If you'd like, you can reach me one of two ways. You can always send an email to rod.kiles@cph.org, and you can give me a phone call if you'd like at 314-268-1315. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through our class overview. There's going to be quite a few different topics that we're going to talk about during this session. We're going to start out with software navigation. So since this is a complete redesign of the membership module, how you get from point A to point B is going to be slightly different. We'll take you through those different clicks and different steps to show you how to find the different parts of the software that you were using in ShepherdStaff 8.7. So navigations, we're also going to talk about conventions. Conventions are things that are going to be consistent throughout the software. So we are redesigning the software, so the conventions are going to be a little different, but these are still going to be things that you'll use consistently as you go forward with ShepherdStaff. After that, we're going to take a look at views and smart views. So smart views is a term that I'm coining right now for specific views within the software, and I'll get more into those here in just the next few minutes. After smart views, we're going to go through searches and filters. We're also going to talk about action buttons, and we're going to go through favorites as well. So I'm excited, as you can tell. I hope you're excited as well. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and switch screens, and we're going to go over to ShepherdStaff. And when you get ready to access ShepherdStaff, you're going to land here on the login screen. And the reason for showing the login screen is I wanted to show that right now we're on version 2020. It's going to say 8.8. The current version that most people are on is ShepherdStaff 2019 version 8.7. So this is the most recent version. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in my password. Notice that it says your CTS account is not yet registered. So to be able to download the most recent copy of ShepherdStaff, you do have to register your software with CTS, that's us, Concordia Technology Solutions, to be able to download the software and install it on your machine. The majority of the people will receive the software via the software updater. So there's also a checkbox for check for software updates, which you can do on a regular basis. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. That's going to allow me to log into the software. One of the things you'll notice is there's not a big difference visually with the login screen or the landing page when you first access the software. Down at the bottom of the screen, there will be your footer, and it'll also say ShepherdStaff version 2020 8.8 with the release date. So let me mention a couple things that are going to be like preparation items before installing your version 8.8. So one of them is something you should do. I guess two of them are something you should do, and one is kind of like a little note. So when it comes to upgrading our software, and I guess you could say any software, you're going to want to make sure to back up your information, back up your data. So inside of ShepherdStaff, there is a backup utility. Go ahead and run that utility and back up your ShepherdStaff. The second thing is, with this being a complete redesign, one thing that is lost with the upgrade is the report library reports. So any report library reports that you're going to want to recreate in ShepherdStaff 2020, you'll want to make notes and write that information down. So that's one thing that is going to be lost. One of the primary focuses of, or the primary focus of this change that we're making right here is to secure the future of the software. So that's priority number one. But since we had to upgrade the interface and the view, we went ahead and improved the navigation, and we're also adding in some additional functionality as well. So there's several different things that we're doing there, but the main reason why we're doing this is to secure the future of the software. So, okay, so let's go ahead and let's go into the membership module. So across the top of the window, you'll click on membership. And then you'll notice when you come into the membership module that it looks more like the redesign of the attendance module. You'll notice across the top of the window that there's going to be your toolbar, and it'll have the different icons. We're going to go through some of those. But then you'll also notice the tabs across the top of this membership module, and then the sub-tabs as well. So there's going to be this different look and feel of the software. In this redesign, we're pulling items forward that were kind of buried and just making them more accessible. In upgrading to Shepherd Staff 8.8, the update is kind of like a one-way door. So it's not an easy step to go backwards. So once you go forward, really you're going forward, and any changes and enhancements that we make will be in future versions. So we're wanting everybody to get familiar with this new navigation and the new workflows, and to also provide feedback. You can go to help, and you can send in support tickets, and of course you can always call me and just give us the additional feedback. But this design is going to be the new design going forward. So visually, some people are going to look at this and say, hey, this is a really big change. It is a change. The views inside of here, the grids inside of here have been converted into views, and everything's going to be a little flatter and a little more pulled forward. So we're excited about this change, and we think most people are going to find this a little easier to use and the navigation a little bit better. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the menu bar here at the top. So you'll notice how it has a membership icon and it has an attendance icon. So those are the two modules that we've converted so far. We're going to be adding contributions here in the near future, and making a decision on whether or not finance is going to go in here, or if that's going to be a standalone product. So that's still yet to be determined, but pretty soon in the near future, this screen will be the screen that you land on instead of landing on the other screen, this screen back here in the background. So that's going to be one of the changes that is going to be made with the software. So across the top, it's got Go To, and it has some of the shared items that are going to be accessible through all of the modules, like subgroups, reports, tools, to-do list, and task manager. And you'll also notice icons across the top for that. There's also send an email. There's going to give you the option to sync with your web tools and also sync with Church 360 Unite. So that's going to be the top menu bar. And inside of that is going to be our membership module. So it's going to have tabs. Those tabs are going to group your what used to be grids, but now are views together. So there's people, which are going to have people related views, ministry, which is going to have ministry related views, church register, which is going to be your old church register designated here, and it's going to be a collection of views that contains different significant life events that take place at your church. Then there's going to be the reports tab and the tools and settings. So tabs across the top, and in most cases, sub-tabs that run down the screen vertically. So you'll notice here that there's individuals and households. Those are your old individual and household grids. We'll have a training here coming up pretty soon that's going to talk about adding households and adding people and managing those records with the new buttons and the new layouts. But and then there's also a few new views, and non-households is one of those. So we've separated your, I guess you're going to say like your church members household or your member households. And then there's going to be non-households. So, and household doesn't have to be member households, but it could be non-member households. But the non-households are going to be things that are like businesses and stuff like that. Below that's going to be list, and list are going to be the different type of lists that are inside of the software. So those lists are going to be like activities, your skills, spiritual gifts, church trainings that take place at your church. This is also going to be a collection of ministry groups, person assigned, Sunday school grades, and school grades. So anything that was considered a list inside of Shepherd Staff is now all going to be accessible from within inside of this list view. There's also going to be anniversaries, which are all of the significant life events, which is a little different than church register, because church register are just the significant life events that take place at your church. The anniversaries are going to be anybody who's inside of your system. It's going to be their significant life event. So a little bit different there. There's also volunteer search and parent search. So earlier I was talking about, hey, there's views and smart views. So the smart views, and the reason why I'm calling them smart views is they're more like a utility that also provides names and people's information. So they're a little bit smarter than the other views, I guess you could say. So I'm calling them smart group views for now. So when you're inside of your normal views or your typical views, they're going to have search and search filters at the top. So let me say search and filters at the top. And within those search items, let me switch my notes here. Within those search items, you're going to be able to filter the data that's within this view. So you'll be able to, any of the column headers that are bold across the top, you'll be able to search within those columns. And there's actually 2 search boxes. So a real quick example could be if you wanted to find all of the married people. So you could do equal to married. And then you could say anybody who's over the age of 40. So you could say greater than 40. So, and then press enter. So these views will be able to search by any of the bold columns. You'll notice how member is here, and that's in italics. That's basically saying that that's not a searchable field, but we also have filters down here, and you can search by these filters, which could be baptized, not baptized, confirmed, not confirmed, first communion, not first communed, user-defined 3, and not user-defined 3, but confirmed is usually the people that you're considering members inside of your church. You could also use who, and you could just say current members. In most cases, that's the one that you're going to use, but there's several different options there, and you can go through and use those, or you can use for a subgroup, which allows you to dig in even deeper at that point in time. So that's how typically you'll find people inside of the software using these different views nowadays is you'll use search and filters. Okay, so across the bottom of your different views, there's going to be your action buttons, and you'll be familiar with the action buttons. They're the standard ones: add, edit, delete. There's also going to be one that allows you to copy addresses. The email feature is going to be integral with what you do going forward. We've made an enhancement to the email feature. So in the past, you had to have Microsoft Outlook to be able to send out emails. Going forward, you'll be able to use web-based email as well. So you'll be able to click there and you'll be able to send out an email. To the right of that, there's going to be a move button. There's going to be subgroup where you can create a static subgroup based on the people that you found here inside of your view. You can also export to Excel, and you can save these views underneath My Views over here on the right-hand side. So the Save button allows you to configure this view and then come back and access this view in the future. Okay, so when you're inside this window with your tabs across the top, let me mention a couple other tabs, and then I'm going to talk about reports, tools, and the favorites over here on the right-hand side. So with ministry, that's going to group all of your ministry items together. We have created this item called touch points, and touch points is digging in a little deeper than what we had with pastoral visits before. So we still have you can still do pastoral visits with touch points, but the thought of touch points is more of keeping a running history of connecting and contacting with people. So it's going to be enhanced versus what you saw with pastoral visits. There's also inactivity, which allows you to find people who are not participating. There's follow-up, which is going to be finding people who have been here but maybe aren't participating now. And that's related to visitors in most cases. And then there's also deaths, which allows us to find people who are no longer with us. To the right of that is going to be the church register. And let me let me make a correction with the deafs there. The deafs is our significant deafs part of the program. So that allows you to find the survived by people related to somebody who passed away. Okay, so to the right of that is going to be the church register. It's going to have the same significant life events, and it'll allow you to generate reports down here with the print button and find people who've had significant life events at your church. To the right of that is going to be reports. Reports is going to be where you'll find the reports. In the past, you'd go up to the R in the menu bar to pull up reports, or you'd go to the word reports here at the top inside of your menu bar. But here you'll be able to click on reports and you'll be able to generate one of the reports that are in the list. One of the things we wanted to do was, in simplifying the navigation work, to combine reports together. So we didn't have 20 reports, we'll have a smaller number of reports. And we'll talk more about that during our reports training. But you'll notice some reports that they'll have the name, like the church directory report. But then you'll also notice some reports that have the double asterisks here. And those double asterisks represent or mean that this is a report that is now accessible through one of the views. So if you were looking for the activity, skills, and training report, you can click there. It'll jump you over to the list view, where now all of your activity, skills, and training will be stored with, I want to say, the ministry groups, person assigned Sunday school grades, and school grades. So all that's going to be located inside of the list view now. Okay, so the last tab here is going to be tools and settings. So the main menu that you've been seeing in the past is going to go away here in the near future, and all of the tools are going to be stored inside of this window along with the modules. So you'll notice the default options are here, the customized field options are here. That'll include tools and also the data entry restrictions that you can enable or disable. So these will be controlled by your login still. So if you're not an administrator or you're not a supervisor for your module, some of these will be turned off. Then running down the right-hand side will be your actions. So people have been using the I want to for years now at this point in time. And you can create your own I want tos now. So you can click here. You can select the item that you want. Upon selecting it, it'll jump you over to that area of the program. And you can click on move. Then that would allow you to move somebody from one household to another household. So I'm going to cancel that. Once I try the feature out, if I want to save it to a list of my actions, I can do that, and these can be dragged and dropped into different positions. There is a right-click drop-down box that allows you to make some additional changes to your My Actions list or your favorites. And then, I'll delete that one. Then there's also My Views and My Reports, which work very similarly. You'll basically be able to navigate and right-click and make changes to them. The My Views is when you're in one of the views, you can save that as a report. And then the My Reports is when you're in one of the reports, you can save that as a report. So the last few things to mention, running down the right-hand side of this window, you'll notice there's a little star. That star allows you to show or hide your favorites panel. So you can make this a little wider if you'd like, which making it wider may be beneficial when you're in like one of the views because it gives you a little bit more real estate there. Then there's also this icon right here, which allows you to dock and undock the window. So in the past, this window has always been attached to the window behind it. So you couldn't drag part of the window onto a second or third or fourth monitor. You always had them all attached. So going forward, you'd be able to put membership on one monitor and then put attendance on another monitor. So there's some more flexibility that's going to be introduced with this release as well. Okay, so I want to mention one other little note that I have written down here, And you'll notice how the grids are just a little bit different. Visually, they're a little bit different. They don't look exactly the same. The freeze bar is frozen here exactly at that spot. So you can't click and drag and reposition the freeze bar anymore, unfortunately. So that's one thing that with this new grid control, it doesn't have that functionality or that capability. It's a standard control with this grid control. So that's one thing. The second thing is with this grid, it doesn't have the ability to unlock. So to be able to edit records, you'll have to go through and edit the record. You'll have to open the record up and edit it. There will be mass update and some changes like that, but it won't be able to be done through the grid. So, okay. Well, that's the information that I had for this first video, and there'll be more videos to come. If you have any questions, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the day, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone.